Joe Douglas, happy anniversary, my man. Well, I'm a day late. Yesterday was the 3rd-year anniversary of Joe Douglas being the Jets general manager. I'm going to give you what I believe are the top 5 biggest accomplishments of Joe Douglas in that time, plus a bonus one. Now I'm talking bigger picture trends, not necessarily individual transactions. And below in the comments, give me your letter grade for Joe Douglas over these first 3 years, A through F, plus minus. What would you grade him? Number 1, biggest accomplishment so far for me is the death of the New York Jets tax. We know it well. It's gone now. When we first started signing these players, I'm looking at Jordan Whitehead, Tyler Conklin. I'm looking at their contract, then I'm looking at their production, reading about them, back to the contract. And I'm like, hey, what gives? Was there an injury or an off-the-field concern I didn't know about? Why are we getting these players on the cheap? But it wasn't on the cheap. It's just that for the first time since I can remember, the New York Jets were signing players at market value. And this is a sentiment that Coach Saleh echoed perfectly when he said that we don't have a single guy that we brought onto this team that's here because we overpaid him to be here. So long gone are the days of Tremaine Johnson and Darrelle Revis the second time and Le'Veon Bell. And look, was I excited about one or two of those moves when they happened? Yes. But it was clear the only reason those players were New York Jets is because we offered them a price tag that no other team would match. It's something that Avery Williamson, I liked him as a linebacker before he got hurt. He came out and said it. He said, look, I was all ready to sign with Indy. The Jets came in, offered 20-30% more than any other team. And that's why he ended up on our squad. And how many players are like that, but just haven't said it yet. So that's done. No more Jets tax. Number 2, Joe Douglas has turned the New York Jets into a legitimate football operation. And I know, how can a legitimate football operation have only won 6 games in the last 2 years? But look, you can feel it. It is palpable. The balance of analytics and what some might call manalytics, the shrewd business acumen, and raw football bravado. We got football people making football decisions. And don't take my word for it. We just talked about Jordan Whitehead. How about him and CJ Uzomah? 2 guys under 30 whose teams were in the Super Bowl within the last 2 years coming to the Jets for market value. Why? Because they believe in this team. They believe in the future of this team. They believe in the leadership of this team. And young, talented people join rebuilding or rebranding companies all the time if they believe in its leadership and its mission. And it's obvious that they do. Number 3, the complete teardown and rebuild of this offensive line is really impressive. Let's take a look at this offensive line, what it was in 2019 to now. The tackles have went from Kelvin Beachum and Brandon Shell to George Fant and Mekhi Becton. The guards, from Alex Lewis and Brian Winters to Laken Tomlinson and AVT. And then center, Jonathan Harrison, who was a bottom 5 center in the league, to Conor Mcgovern, who's above average. And look, if Conor Mcgovern, if he's the offensive lineman you're least excited about, a guy who's under 30, who's durable, who's above average for his position, and is making $9 million, if that's the worst offensive lineman on your team, you are in great shape. Now, some depth. Nate Herbig, he's a starter. Not on this team. He's a backup guard. Max Mitchell, developmental swing tackle. And Dan Feeney can spot you a few games at center and you'll survive. Incredible rebuild of the offensive line. That is number 3. Number 4, 2 other position groups I combined together that the New York Jets had ignored for far too long. That is edge and tight end. Let's do another comparison of the edge room, the pass rushers. When Joe Douglas took over, our 2 most accomplished pass rushers were Henry Anderson and Jordan Jenkins. And now, Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers. And a stable of depth. Jacob Martin, Sheldon Rankins, Vinnie Curry, Michael Clemens, Solomon Thomas. If Jordan Jenkins and Henry Anderson, in their 2019 form, they would be backups on this team and maybe not even both guaranteed to make the roster, honestly. What an incredible transformation, and an equally incredible one at tight end. We all know, we said it for years. The last legitimate tight end we had was Dustin Keller. a decade ago. And in between Dustin Cutler and now, I mean, the best tight end production we had was a flash in the pan from Austin Seferian-Jenkins. And Chris Herndon as a rookie, who we just gave away to Minnesota, and it might be out of the league soon. Chris Herndon had one of the most productive seasons of a Jets tight end in the last 10 years as a rookie. Now we have 1, 2, 3 guys who are all better than Chris Herndon. They have varied skill sets. I like the spacing of their ages. Uzama, the veteran. Conklin, about to pop into his prime, and Jeremy Ruckert, the tight end. So the present, the near future, and the distant future are all looking great at tight end for the New York Jets. Number 5. And this will end up being number 1 if it comes to fruition, but I have to put it at number 5 because we are projecting to a significant degree. And I believe Joe Douglas has drafted the franchise quarterback of the New York Jets in Zach Wilson. I do. Look, I can maybe count on one hand the number of quarterbacks in the league who have the combination of arm talent, athleticism, and work ethic of Zach Wilson. Is that all it takes? No. But we started to see the second half of last season, post-injury, chaos around him, injuries, game slows down, better decisions, turnover-free football. Now, a whole nother offseason, a transformed body, a completely revamped offensive line, tight end, wide receiver, and running back room. He's primed to pop. We're going to see why he was the second overall pick this year. I fully believe that. And a bonus one. We talked about tight end and edge. 2 other areas of this team that have been lacking for way too long as well. That is the depth and the special teams. I'm going to give you some names, and all these players have one thing in common. Joe Flacco, Tevin Coleman, Braxton Berrios, Denzel Mims, Max Mitchell, Dan Feeney, Jacob Martin, Solomon Thomas, Sheldon Rankins, Vinnie Curry. All would be key starters on teams ran by Mike McCagnon and John Idzik. Now, they're backups, and some of them probably on the roster bubble. Incredible. Also, special teams. I think it was Sam Darnold's rookie year where our only 2 Pro Bowlers were 2 special teamers. We had Myers, the kicker, and Andre Roberts, the kick returner. And we let them both walk for pennies. And we've been scrambling ever since. For the past few seasons, the New York Jets have had 2 requirements for their place kicker. 1, have a leg, and 2, have a weird last name. That's been it. Now, 2 legitimate professional kickers that will have a competition. In Zerloin and Eddie Pinheiro, and Braden Mann, back off the injury, should be solid. Obviously, Berrios, as good a return man as it gets in the NFL. It's great stuff. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Go Jets.